Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Engaged, a video discussion series led by Beyond Differences teen board members. Beyond Differences' mission is to empower youth to end social isolation and create cultures of belonging. Today, I'm here with Lily, Sam, and Maliyah to talk about Beyond Differences' Be Kind online program. We're going to start with a game inspired by the movie The Social Dilemma and their social media confessions bingo card. We made a version for Be Kind Online. Be Kind Online teaches students about how to be more inclusive and create a sense of belonging in online spaces. In this bingo game, each square represents an online behavior that many of us may not even realize that we do. I'm going to read out these descriptions at random, and the first person to get 4 in a row calls out bingo. Sound good? Okay. I fell into a deep virtual rabbit hole. I sleep with my phone next to me. I've compared my life to someone else's life online. I felt pressured to like a post even though I didn't really like it or didn't really care about it. I mindlessly scroll for more than 1 hour a day. I've felt left out after looking at someone else's post. I eat with my phone next to me while I'm with other people. I've been disappointed when I didn't receive enough likes or a like from someone in particular. I've scrolled through my phone while talking to someone. I prefer the way I look with filters. I've traveled somewhere mainly just to take a picture and post it on my profile.
I'm at bingo. I didn't want to interrupt you as you were.
Okay, Lily wins. Yeah, that was a great way to break the ice and get us thinking. Yeah, let's talk about this. So I know for me that I related to more of these squares than I thought I would, especially over the last few months. I've been doing a lot more mindless scrolling, and I find myself turning to social media to feel better and often just walking away feeling a lot worse. Was anyone here surprised by what they related to?
I thought it was really interesting how many of these I actually relate to from the very limited amount of social media that I'm on.
Yeah, I've deleted apps because I've just found it like overwhelming me so much. But I still relate to a lot of these things.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to the squares too. I've done these actions on the bingo card, and it's kind of weird because you don't think about it, and then when it pops into your head, you're like, wow, I do this a lot, and it's like a problem.
I would also definitely agree. I relate to these as well, especially the actions that I take that I don't always notice. I'm not always conscious of that I kind of do throughout the day.
Yeah, I definitely found that rabbit hole question pretty relatable, especially during quarantine, that I found myself going down a bunch of rabbit holes and just getting sucked into something, whether it was actually something interesting or something that really didn't have much value in my life. I can definitely relate to just being bored and continuing to scroll and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. What I'm hearing from all of you guys is just how common it feels and how you don't even realize that it's more than just a daily habit until it's kind of all laid out in front of you in the form of a bingo game.
There are times where I'll be texting a friend or I'll be doing something that is genuinely enjoyable and positive, but a lot of times I'll just pick up my phone and scroll through things because I'm bored. And I don't want to do anything else, which I feel like, there's a difference in those two kind of activities, but they're both on the same place. So it's so hard to not slip into the bad one that's more passive and not actually rewarding.
Yeah, I think, Lily, quarantine has changed the way that we've interacted with our phones and the role that it plays in good ways and bad ways. It's a way to connect with our friends and to do school and all of these things that we've kind of missed out on because of the pandemic, but it's also become a crutch.
It's in tandem with having my phone next to me while I'm eating at the table. As my parents and I get into a lot of squabbles about that, is I'll get a text or an email and I feel like it's rude not to respond even though I'm at dinner. And I always feel awful if I leave somebody unread and can't respond in a way that feels more timely, which I think is interesting that etiquette is different across generations.
I didn't even think about that, Lily, how there is this generational difference and how a lot of a lot of the different things, a lot of the different behaviors that were in these squares are all separate things, but really they are all interconnected, aren't they? So we talked about how our online behaviors have been changed by quarantine and maybe not wanting to feel so alone. How do you think our actions online are connected to social isolation and loneliness?
I think that's a really fascinating question. And I would say since the pandemic started, our phones have become outlets more than ever. Our social worlds, everything we do that's not school or work is mostly through our phones and computers. And every time we're scrolling through Instagram or we receive likes or upvotes on a social media site, that rewires our brains. We get a dopamine rush and it excites us. It makes us want another one. And I think that just further addicts us to the sites, to the social media, to the pictures we post and all of that. And I think one of the most fascinating things I've learned about social media and all of that technology is that Facebook, for example, is not necessarily the product. We're the ones that the sites, that the people who have built the sites, they want to sell us our information, but mostly they want us to continue using their platforms as much as we can.
When we start to let all that negative energy and bad vibes get to us and affect our self-esteem and our confidence, it can make us feel lonely and isolated, and we'll want to just we can be in a room full of people that love us and care for us and tell us every single day how amazing we are, and only thing we want to do is get away from them and go to our phone for comfort.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great point. I feel like another thing about social media is it can also cause division and polarization, like we're seeing right now in the political climate. I mean, it's really scary that we are so engaged with our phones, but not all the information that we see is real or credible. And something that really stood out to me in the social dilemma is that we can all be getting different information depending on where you live. And also the fact that things that are fake or are over exaggerated get more clicks and attention, which kind of creates this atmosphere of hyperbole online, especially politically, which is so dangerous, as we've seen recently, as it's not only false information, but everyone getting that different information. So it creates this climate of not discourse, but conflict. And this causes disconnection, distrust, division, and the chaos that we've seen very recently. And this also leads to social isolation as well, and other really dangerous consequences for the society we live in.
It's true. Our time online can impact how we engage with others, our mental health, and shapes how we view the world and others who have different opinions from us, all of which can contribute to the cycle of loneliness and social isolation. So everything that you all are saying reminds me that it has never been easier to run from ourselves. We walk into a room and things feel uncomfortable and we pull out our phones, or when things get overwhelming on an assignment, it feels like it's so easy to just watch a video instead. And these habits are so common, and it's not a moral failing if you fall into them, but it's something that we can recognize and we can start to change it. Because it's so important for our long-term happiness to manage the negative feelings that come up. So we have a list of some things that we can do that can help us change some of our habits and introduce new habits to change our relationships with social media and our time online in general. So here's a list of some things that we can do. First, we can start by simple mindfulness practice. Before liking or commenting or taking any action when online, just pause and take a couple deep breaths. And this helps us stay mindful. 2, we can ask ourselves, what apps make me feel good afterwards and what apps don't make me feel so good afterwards. 3, turn off notifications. So when you do visit apps, you do it when you want to. 4, don't click on clickbait. So you have more agency in how you move throughout the online world. So those are some things to start with. But what are some other ideas that you guys have?
Some ideas I have would be don't bring your phone into your bedroom at night. Just try to distance it as far as you can from you, leave it in the other room or downstairs.
Another thing you could do is wait 15, 20 minutes before checking your phone when you wake up. If you do that, I promise you're going to feel way more refreshed. And before looking at everything that's collected in your notification center, you're just going to feel a lot better.
Another thing we can do is try to limit your phone time. There's a lot of apps for limiting screen time, and I think there's also a thing you can do on your phone that just lets you know, and you can set limits for how long you can use an app per day.
That is a great list. And it's funny that you say that. I actually just reinstalled my screen time, or just started it up again, and it's been helping. So as technology progresses, it'll keep getting more advanced and it'll find better ways to pull us in. So we need to make sure that we can keep educating ourselves and seek out resources and information so we can put the power into our own hands. So we've identified how our online actions can contribute to social isolation and loneliness, and ways to counter some of the habits that we have. I want to end by talking about how we can use our time online, specifically our time on social media, to spread kindness and build connections.
I know something that's been really helpful for me, especially during this time, is to focus on content on social media that makes me excited to do other things. So whether that be a really cool craft project that I want to try to make, or a recipe that I want to cook, is making sure to stop and be proactive about wanting to do those things, because it's so easy to just keep scrolling through more ideas and never do anything with them. So that's been something that I've tried to do to really be productive with my time and actually engage with things that make me genuinely excited.
I have a really big interest and passion for filmmaking. I make a lot of my own videos and I'll post them online a lot. I just find so much joy in it. And I think what I try to do is to share that joy with others, to post something that maybe spreads awareness for an issue, especially with this conversation about social media, for example, or just my own love for filmmaking. Trying to spread happiness and joy to others is really a way I can play my part in making an impact on social media and online.
Something I'll do to help spread kindness is by making art, or going out on a walk and like taking pictures of what I see and posting them online, and just saying like, hey, like this is just something that I saw, and like, you know, like I want to share with you guys. Or I'll just think like, how can I, you know, try to make someone else feel good today, or like how can I brighten someone's day. I just think like just small stuff like that, and I'll try to incorporate with like what I'm gonna post, or like what I'm gonna like do for the day.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you're all talking about making connections and making art, and even finding inspiration from online to bring that kindness that you can find online into the real world. Those are all such great ways to use social media. Another thing that I have noticed myself and a lot of friends use social media as a tool to stand up for others. And you can use social media to spread information, to set dates and events, to mobilize and make something happen in person, to bridge that gap between online and the real world. This was a great conversation. Thank you everyone so much. And check out Beyond Differences, Be Kind Online for more information and resources on how to create cultures of belonging and inclusion online. Bye everyone.